Hey, what's happening, guys? It's Sanjoku. I know I'm not live. I know it totally sucks. It is what it is. I should be able to go live by tomorrow night. I'm just still kind of working out the kinks. But since I was not able to go live tonight, I wanted to go ahead and do a little quick video about these cryptid creatures and just kind of get your guys' opinions about it. I really feel that some of these cryptids they go hand in hand with the UFO phenomenon. Not some of them, not all of them. Some of them are in a class all by themselves. So I just want to take a look at a few videos tonight, kind of get your guys' feedback on it, see how you're feeling, and then by tomorrow night I should be ready to go live, just so I can have a few of you guys in here. We can go over a little bit of tape, go over some stories, and just kind of see exactly how you guys are feeling about this. So we're not going to waste too much time. We're going to go ahead and jump into it. If you are new to the channel, please do think about subscribing. That really does help me out and keep me growing. The first video tonight's by Mojo. We're going to go ahead and they're linked in the description. Be sure to sub them, check them out. So let's do this, man. Number 10.
At number 10, Dark Watchers. So Dark Watchers are humanoid beings ranging from 7 to 15 feet tall. They are cloaked figures, sometimes with wide-brimmed hats that have been reported to melt and merge with shadows. If you spot one, they can disappear within the blink of an eye. They are mainly spotted in California. The earliest sightings are by the native Chumash tribe, whose oral history of the Old Ones goes back centuries. The Old Ones...
A lot of the history tied to these Indian tribes that go back a long way. When you get into the skinwalkers and things of that nature, I honestly put a lot of stock into that. They're seeing something, they're doing something. There's things there that I personally will never understand, but I'd really like to learn more about it. If you do know more about that, please feel free to hit me up. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
Ones are said to observe from a distance. As recently as 2018, a man said he encountered one. He was hiking up a remote trail and came upon a dark figure. He waved as a joke, not thinking it was a person, and waved back. Then, he thought he might just be tripping out or something, so he took a puff of his cigarette, and then the figure blew out a plume of smoke as well. And if that wasn't trippy enough, it started flowing, and nearly floating vertically, so the man ran back to his car.
Dude, I would have been gone. Like, so gone. No idea how fast I would have got out of there. Like, including, like, the shit in my pants that I would have to be carrying with me.
Ever encounter one, don't be too wary. They're not known to harm anyone as long as they're not disturbed, so just keep on your merry way and you should be fine. At number 9, Tizaruk. So, the Tizaruk is a sea serpent found in Alaskan folklore that roams Alaska's waters. It's described as 7 feet long with a tail ending in a flipper. The total length is about 12 to 15 feet long. It's also called a Cadborosaurus from one academic suggestion. This led to the nickname Caddy being given to the sea serpent that's occasionally spotted.
I'm pretty sure this is that one video where you see that creature just kind of swimming through the ice, but you can tell like it's moving huge chunks of ice along with it, but you never really get a pretty clear shot of it. I'm pretty sure this is what they are talking about.
It's been said to snatch people from docks and piers. So a video came out in 2009 claiming that it was a Tizaruk, but some say it was a herd of sea lions. Mysterious sea serpents.
Sea lions aren't going to be swimming in a big zigzag like that.
Caddy is believable. As recently as 2016, a new...
Oh man, let me go back a little bit.
As 2016, a new species of whale was discovered in Alaska's waters.
Yeah, man, that thing has a head, and that's like almost like an ice sheet stuck to its back. Even a whale swinging its tail wouldn't have that big ass curve right there. This is something long and straight. And it could be like a big group of eels. Like I know like a lot of people say the Loch Ness, it's a bunch of eels that come together and they start migrating. So that's like a possibility, but in these kind of waters to have that many, I don't know, dude. Plus this thing looks like one like united piece.
So, really we can't rule out the existence of something else out there. So Tizaruk, Caddy, whatever you call it, Alaska might have it for you. Maybe go take a peek. Hit up Alaska. Why not? On to number 8, the Wampus Beast. So this cryptid is also known as a Wampus Cat. It is a jet black panther cat creature with glowing eyes. It's mainly seen in Appalachia. So Cherokee folklore says...
Thing's creepy. You can make out like 4 legs on it, a decent body. It doesn't look like there's a tail. It's like 2 big ass glowing eyes.
There was a woman wearing hides to spy on her husband, but guards caught her and cast spells on her. This caused the hide she was wearing to form onto her. One rumor says that
that just looked like a big
Wampus
ass dog.
Beast lives in sewers. But anyways, one story goes that a 9-year-old boy saw this beast late at night. His parents told him to get something from the shed. He went out and came face to face with a jet black panther-like creature with glowing eyes, just as we described. The creature gave a weird, high-pitched, hissing-like sound, which then frightened the boy to go back inside to his house. Then, years later, on this same farm, the boy had another encounter with the beast. He lost a lot of pigs to the beast, but he did escape the encounter with his life.
See, that one sounds more of like just a big cat, like an undiscovered big cat. You gotta figure like the the platypus was a cryptid creature forever until somebody finally went out to the lake and was like, yeah, there's an ugly ass thing swimming around in that lake. And it ended up being the duck-billed platypus. And it was no longer a cryptid, man. It was put into the register of all the animals. So, I mean, it can happen. It's just like in a situation like that, like where it's taking pigs and stuff like that, and you have like a cat and it's a kid that sees it first. I mean, a big ass cat's going to scare the hell out of anybody that sees it. They can see that story getting a little exaggerated.
Number 7, gargoyle. So, you might be familiar because the term gargoyle is used.
Badass cartoon. I don't know how much stock I put into actual gargoyles, but it was a good ass cartoon.
Used in architecture, but it is also a term to describe cryptids that resemble the gargoyles we see in architecture. They are described as roughly humanoid monsters with leathery bat-like wings. They resemble the popular conceptions of demons, pretty much. So a popular example of a gargoyle is the Gargoyle of Glastonbury. This gargoyle supposedly haunts researchers who try to learn too much about King Arthur. But there isn't just one gargoyle out there. One person in the States claimed to see one fly over their car. Their mom was driving and they thought
it's like almost like a Mothman.
they were the only one to see it, but their mom looked at them, pale as a sheet, and said, "Did you see that?" They described it as a thin, bony, lanky gray thing that was illuminated, coated in like a soft light. They said it kind of looked like a huge, starving, human-esque bat creature, and all in all, I'm just rethinking everything about the Hunchback of Notre Dame right now. Those gargoyles? What if it's based off something real? All I'm saying. All I'm saying. So some people said the possible gargoyle the last person described sounded a little bit like Mothman. So that brings us to number 6, Mothman.
There you
If
go.
you haven't heard, the Mothman is described as a 6 or 7 foot tall, dark humanoid figure with wings and bright red glowing eyes. This legend began November 1966 in Clendenin, West Virginia. The story goes that 5 men were at their local cemetery preparing a grave for burial. Then, all of a sudden, something that looked like a brown human being lifted off from some nearby trees and flew over their heads. The men were shocked. It did not appear to be a bird, but more like a man with wings. And then, a few days later, sightings kept taking place with stories spreading around the entire region. While it has been spotted all over West Virginia, its main habitat seems to be Point Pleasant. Specifically in an area local...
We've all seen the movie. We've all seen the bridge collapse. We know what's coming here.
It's called the TNT area, where there have been hundreds of sightings. So now in Point Pleasant, there is...
Could you imagine driving down the road and seeing that shit pop out in the front of your car? I'd lose my mind, dude. I'd gun it. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I would gun it immediately if all of a sudden I looked up and that was standing in front. There'd be no hesitation. I'd hit that with as hard as I possibly could.
There's a Mothman statue, Mothman Museum, and Mothman Festival. And honestly, that's just fun hype, and I want to go. So bad. But here's another man creature cryptid at number 5, Dogman. So Dogman or Dogmen is an umbrella term for an upright canine cryptid. They're
Alright, like the Dogman, the werewolf, like that all of this right here, like truly goes back to the Indian culture with me and the shapeshifters and being able to take those forms. A lot of times it is a wolf or like a bigger creature like that. And I don't know, dude. I don't know. That's all I'm going to say. At this point right now, that's all I'm going to say until I hear back from you guys.
They're mainly found stalking North American woods, as you can see by this map of reported sightings. So some describe another version of a dogman, sometimes called a Type 3, a Sasquatch-looking creature with the face of a dog. So here's one story that
That's like that creature that took it, that little kid in that Mr. Baldwin story.
is similar to how many sightings of a dogman or dogmen go down. A man and his mom were sitting on their porch that faces an alley when it got eerily quiet. They turned their attention to where a trash can had fallen over. They thought they saw just a big dog, but it got up on its hind legs. Its height was taller than the security fence their neighbors put up. His mom went inside and he backed away slowly into his house. Now he says he won't walk anywhere at night alone. While there is a large sum of people who have reported sightings where they said they felt frightened, few sightings have resulted in actual attack or harm. And that being
I will tell you right now, Mr. Baldwin has a story about these 4, I guess it was either 4 or 5, like a pack of wolves, but they were like oversized wolves, and how they just like terrorized this family over an entire night. You guys want me to cover that video and go ahead and like make a story about it and just go through it? It is a cool ass story, man. It's fully documented. They just chalked it up to being wolves, but like the way that these wolves acted and the things that they were doing and the way that they circled this house and worked together and even stood up on their back legs, it's insane, man. So if you want to see that, definitely hit me up and let me know. It's one of my favorite stories he's ever done, and I'd love to put it on for you guys.
said, if you come across a dogman and feel frightened, like you could be attacked, just walk away. You just don't want to risk it, honestly. No. And so yeah, we talked about Dogman, so we need to talk about number 4, Goatman. He is described as half goat and half human, as the name suggests. Goatman walks on 2 legs and is 7 feet tall.
I put as much stock into Goatman as I do into South Park's Man Bear Pig. It just, I don't know. This one I don't put any stock into it. It is what it is. It's just my personal opinion.
A lot of these are 7 feet tall or 7 feet long. Just saying. So the story goes that
like that photo right there was proven to be fake as shit.
Scientist was experimenting on ghosts until one experiment backfired. Then he was mutated, becoming goat-like himself. He then began attacking cars with an axe, roaming the back roads of Beltsville,
That picture was also proven fake as shit, and he didn't have his ears in the first one.
Maryland. He has been blamed for the deaths of countless hikers. In 1962, Goatman allegedly slaughtered 14 hikers after they went too close to his hideout. It was written, he chopped his victims to pieces while emitting screams that only the devil himself would make. Now people believe he hides out under an old bridge, waiting for his next victim. At number 3, Altamahaha. The Altamahaha is also called Alti. It is said that it was discovered by the Tama native tribe before the
It's like Loch Ness's cousin right here.
British English colonization. The existence of Alti has been recognized by Native Americans for centuries. It is described as 20 to 30 feet long, with a sturgeon-like body and a bony ridge on its top. Its color is gray with a whitish-yellow underbelly, but it can be shown to be green. This may be for camouflaging reasons. It has front flippers but no back limbs, and it has large protruding eyes and large sharp teeth. Apparently, it swims like a dolphin but has the snout of a crocodile and big bug eyes. Basically. It's located in small streams and abandoned rice fields near the Altamaha River. So it has not been said to be explicitly dangerous, but don't go near it if
That's pretty cool. I haven't seen that picture before. I always think about that shit, dude, like when I'm out kayaking, especially when the water's real clear and you get into some of like these places that not a lot of people get to, and you're just kind of chilling, just looking over in the water and just like praying to God you don't see something scary as shit just kind of sitting right underneath the surface looking back up at you. This is cool though, man. That fin right there is completely out of place. Like, completely out of place.
if you see one. If it has the face of a crocodile, you can bet it has the bite of one too. And with those, you just punch it in the nose. Or like plug its nose and it can't breathe, and then you'll be let go. Just tips.
Always straight for the eyes. Straight for the eyes.
Pro tips for crocodiles. On to number 2, the orang pendek. So the orang pendek is...
I love this story. Like, man, I've done so much research into this little creature. Very, very real possibility. Like, fossil record possibilities going back to this thing. Supposed to be an angry little bastard, though.
Mysterious ape of Sumatra, an island of western Indonesia. In the Indonesian language, orang pendek translates to short person. So it could possibly be a homogeneous, and it's believed to be an undiscovered kind of primate species, possibly.
This is the one that they kind of dubbed the Hobbit, because all this research came out as soon as that movie was coming out, and they were like, we actually found a real Hobbit. There's a ton of news stories about it. Definitely research this one, man. There's a lot of information about it.
Commonly described by those who have seen it as a bipedal creature that stands from 2.5 to 5 feet tall. They are covered in golden brown or gray hair and have similar mannerisms to humans. Different than monkeys, they are also said to have human-like facial features. Witnesses have also claimed to see them ripping apart logs, akin to Captain America ripping one up. That's the only one I think. It could just be ripping up that way. But let's go.
Could just be hunting for food, just trying to dig worms out.
Go on, last but not least, number 1, Slide Rock Bolter. So the Slide Rock Bolter is a huge cryptid that allegedly lives in the mountains of Colorado. It has a huge head, small eyes, and a gaping mouth. It is said...
It's like that thing from Tremors. This is shit, I'll tell you that right now.
To look similar to a whale with a flared tail that has enormous grabbing hooks at the end. So it was reportedly seen around the late 19th and into the 20th centuries as a popular tail among lumberjacks and miners. Also, it only lives where the slope is more than a 45-degree angle, where it hides and waits for its prey. I'm guessing it uses this angle to be able to slide towards them, as it will sit and wait until unsuspecting tourists walk by, and then it unlocks its claws and just slides towards them. Due to its size, it's said to be able to eat whole parties of tourists in just one fell swoop. Once that it's caught its prey, it apparently uses its tail claws
like a sliding land whale that lives up in the mountain. No. Nope.
to climb back up the mountain and then rest again, waiting for the next victim. Now, skeptics say it may be a drunken lumberjack's explanation for a rock slide, but believers say it may have taken a more rocky look to
Big ass rock slide will take out a hell of a lot of people, and you'll never know they were even there.
Flush itself nowadays, as big divots in Colorado mountains say, ooh, maybe it's there, and it was sliding, eating the prey. But that was the top 10 scary cryptid site.
Nope, sounds like erosion.
Let me know what you think down below. Which is the scariest cryptid? Which one do you think? Not true, and which ones? Maybe. When you comment down below, make sure to also like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to be notified when our other videos come up. Other than that, my name's Abby, that's been this video, and until next time, keep an eye out for some cool creatures, because that'd be fun. Okay, goodbye.
Alright, so that was pretty cool. There was a few on there that I knew they were going to talk about. There was a few on there they did not talk about. So I want to check out one more video, just kind of see if maybe a few of these are going to overlap. So we'll just kind of skim through them a little bit faster than we did in the past video. But hopefully we'll get into some other ones. Be sure to hit me up, man. I really want to know what you guys are thinking about this. Alright, man, this next video is made by the Blue Crusader. His link is also going to be in the description. He makes some really, really great videos. So be sure to go check him out as well. Be sure to sub his channel. Let's go ahead and jump into this one. Like I said, if they do overlap, we're going to go ahead and skip forward a little bit.
Myths. Number 10. Mothman. Hailing from the US state of West Virginia, Mothman is strange and an unexplained urban legend. Mothman is one of the most recognizable cryptids to many today. But where did it come from, and what are its origins?
There's so many overlapping things between Mothman and these other cryptids to where they could all be the same, like not the same creature, but like the same kind of being, that where you see them on a different regular basis.
The sighting of Mothman was reported on November 12, 1966 in West Virginia, near a place called Glendon. 5 men were...
Go ahead and skip forward a little bit since we already heard this story.
A brown-skinned creature lifting off from the nearby tree branches. The men all maintained the fact.
That's like the most famous picture of that thing sitting on top of that Pleasant Bridge. It does have a weird shape to it, man. You definitely see some broader appendages. It almost looks like a flight suit that you see people wearing these days.
That they believed the creature was some sort of humanoid rather than a bird. The largest amount of sightings, though, of Mothman come from old West Virginia Ordnance Works. His appearance does not mirror that, with a wingspan of 10 to 15 feet, able to fly at 100 miles per hour. Number 9. Mermaids.
Mermaids are a weird one, dude. Remember that Discovery special that came out a few years ago and everybody was like, holy shit, mermaids are real, because Discovery never said, like, we just made all this stuff up. Mermaids, there have been tales of them forever. They've been confused with manatee. There's, I don't know, man, the sailors that used to believe in these things, like, believed in them wholeheartedly. You still see footage coming out today where they're splashing around on docks or sitting on rocks. Every one that I've seen looks like complete CGI. But like I said, man, our oceans are completely unexplored. There is no telling what is down there. And mermaids are one of the things that I do think could be linked to the UFO phenomenon. If they have been in our oceans for like literally thousands of years, eventually they would have like ways to swim and be able to have tails after watching the fish, to be able to make their way through the water. Not saying that they're mermaids, but maybe it's just what they're wearing and how they get through our oceans super fast. It's definitely a possibility.
Mermaids are something you may have seen in films, or perhaps even from old material, dating back to Greek mythology. However, they are also cryptids. As you may know, fictionally, mermaids appear as half humans and half fish creatures, humanoids with the upper abdomen of a human and the lower half tail of a fish. Sightings of these creatures come from perhaps unexpected sources, one of them being Christopher Columbus himself. Columbus had been sailing with his crew off of the coast of Hispaniola in the year 1493. Columbus had described a sighting of 3 female forms that rose high out of the water, but were not as beautiful as represented, as I quote. The logbook of Blackbeard also notes that he had sent his men on multiple sea voyages to steer clear from charted waters, labelled as enchanted based upon a fear of merfolk or mermaids, which his crew himself had claimed to have seen. Although this is interesting, we'll perhaps take this information with a grain of salt, as it's coming from pirates who are notorious for their consumption of certain things. Whether mermaids are real or not,
yeah, but the pirates are also on the water more than anybody else. They're going to end up seeing more shit than anybody else. I mean, it's whether you're drunk or not, it's hard to sail. So, I mean, somebody's paying attention. I promise you that.
If we take science as an example, it is quite impossible or unfeasible due to women or humans altogether being mammals, whereas fish are cold-blooded.
That's from that Discovery special. That thing was cool as hell. I'm not even going to lie. I did not know Columbus had a mermaid report.
Having both kinds of creature in one form doesn't fit the natural cycle. Number 8. Gargoyles.
Gargoyles, Mothman, I really think those are all linked together, man.
Beast sighting. As a NASA employee in the year 1986, Frank Shaw was leaving his place of work at Houston's Johnson Space Center. He was noted as claiming to have spotted a large black gargoyle figure perched upon the edge of the Space Center. A figure he was filled with and ripped through the fabric. Allegedly, the creature took flight with a crackling roar from its wings and into the night sky. Sometime after the incident,
A lot of history and a lot of mystery behind gargoyles, man.
when confiding in a work supervisor, it was revealed that they had a file with information based upon the creature due to mysterious passings of 2 German shepherds from the facility, and he was not the first to have seen it. Number 7. Black cat sightings. Black cats, also known as
These black cats, dude, they're found a lot of places, like a lot of places that they're not supposed to be. This, I truly believe, is just an unidentified species, man. There's a lot of big cats, a lot of bobcats. There's a lot of cats in Florida that people never see, but they know that they're out there. So, I don't know, man. The big cat things, I think they might actually be like a cryptid that ends up being discovered. Cats are pretty reclusive. They can hide from you if they want to. If they do not want to be seen, they will not be seen. And there is a lot of like people and farmers that talk about these just like big black cats that come in and they got footage of them, dude. Like they look like about the size of like a bigger bobcat. They're not like as big as like a tiger or anything, but they're definitely big enough to come in and take one of your animals in the middle of the night. So I don't know. This one could end up just being a new species or just a cat that's made a way bigger range for itself than people will understand.
Alien big cats, or ABCs, refer to large cats that have an appearance similar to those of cats such as panthers, leopards, lions, or cougars. The word alien describes the fact that they are not thought of being native to their surroundings. There are many more famous sightings which are labelled after the location, such as the Beast of Exmoor, the Beast of Dartmoor, and the Beast of Bodmin Moor. However, with the close locations, it could easily appear that some of the sightings could just be publicity or tourist stunts. Small bodies retrieved of some of the smaller types of these cats have been found to be crossbreeds, comprising of Scottish wildcats and domestic house cats.
Like a very real possibility. They get a little bit of extra size on them. They're still a natural hunter because they're a cat. I mean, to be honest, like cats are pretty badasses when they're out hunting and doing their thing. So, I mean, you get into that crossbreed and you start getting different species coming together. All of a sudden, you end up coming up with some kind of cat that's a little bit bigger that can end up raising a little bit of hell. You start seeing them everywhere. They continue to breed, and then it just kind of runs over from there.
It would seem more plausible that they could be wildcats. However, some of these large cats look like black panthers or African cats. It is commonly presumed that the larger cats could perhaps be escaped exotic pets, kept away illegally by their owners, or escaped zoo animals. For years, even predating...
That's the thing, like, a lot of people have these pets. They end up getting out. They end up finding another cat that's native to the area. Somehow they end up mating together. Then you have some half-breed cat that's roaming around, dude, and that evolution continues to happen. It's just, I don't know, dude. I mean, it happens all the damn time, so you can't just say that would never happen because, I mean, that shit happens all the time. If you look at different fish species and how many different species of panfish there are because of crossbreeding between all these other fish, it happens, like, on a... all the damn time.
Scientific theories have these cats roamed the British lands. In the old days, some referred to the cats as demonic forms or witches shape-shifting like druids. A boy even had
Like, that's definitely a big-ass cat. The tail gives it away.
an encounter with a creature that appeared to be a black panther in 2000. Number 6. The Jersey Devil.
Jersey
The
Devil.
Jersey Devil is described as a creature that is native to the New Jersey Pineland.
It's like a big, furless squirrel on steroids.
One that has been roaming for at least 260 years. Although a mysterious creature built upon almost purely, seemingly fictitious stories of betrayal or mythology, the Jersey Devil has seen its fair share of sightings too. Sightings have been recorded in the Pine Barrens and its surrounding areas ever since the 19th century. However, documented
I don't put too much stock into the Jersey Devil. If I did, and I was going to, I would definitely chalk him up as more of just like an interdimensional being that can just kind of come in and out, just from another dimension if you want to look at it that way. But I don't put a whole lot of stock into this either.
findings don't tend to go back any earlier than the year 1909. One account from a Commodore Stephen Decatur claims that as he was testing cannonballs at a range, a strange creature flew over him and across the sky. Brother of Napoleon,
Shit looked like a thunderbird.
Joseph Barnard Petit, claimed he had seen the Jersey Devil striking on livestock and flying with its piercing scream. During the stretch of 1859 and 1890,
That looks like somebody put wings on their dog or their little mini goat and just chucked that damn thing.
the creature was sighted on numerous occasions carrying off a large number of livestock around Haddonfield, Bridgeton, Smithville, Long Branch, Bringatane, and Leeds Point. Although like all creatures we cannot confirm anything, possible evidence may lie in the thousands of eyewitness reports along with footprints suggesting there is a possibility of its existence, but there is zero physical evidence however to prove this. Number 5. The Loch Ness Monster. Nessie also...
Loch Ness is a tough one, man. If you guys want to do a video about Loch Ness, we can. There's a lot that goes into Loch Ness as far as like the pictures that came out that have been proven to be fake, and then other pictures that have come out and you're like, damn, what the hell is that? I do think there is a real explanation for Loch Ness. I understand if the lock itself was not like completely locked at this point to where it did have like ocean access, not at one point, but like still to this day, you might be able to put a little bit more stock into it. I know there is a cave system that runs through that lock to where they could honestly still get in and out from the ocean. And if it is part of like a breeding cycle and when they come into the lock at certain points of the year, it's a real possibility, man. But I don't know. Loch Ness is a tough one for me, man, because there's been so many expeditions there to where people have been like running sonar, running radar, just running this entire lake, like 70, 80 boats lined up, just running straight across, and there's nobody getting a hit. They're getting like one mystery hit, but nobody can really explain it. It's, I don't know, man. Loch Ness is rough.
The Loch Ness Monster is perhaps one of the most popular creatures that comes to mind when thinking of myths and cryptids. The Loch Ness Monster resembles a dinosaur-like creature, having an almost uncanny appearance to the Elasmosaurus or Plesiosaurus. The Loch Ness Monster is shown as a creature perhaps 15 to 20 feet in length, with rubbery black skin with the appearance of a serpent. The creature takes its name from the Loch Ness, where it supposedly inhabits, a large and deep freshwater loch in the Highlands of Scotland, which stretches for around 23 miles. Many hoaxes have been recorded. One perhaps that is the most popular of pictures, which shows the creature from a 1924 photograph that was discounted by one of the hoaxers. The Loch Ness Monster myth is perhaps one of the most disproven and investigated, with multiple teams of researchers and divers exploring perhaps the majority of the water and finding no evidence. Number 4. The Megalodon Shark. The
Megalodon's probably still swimming around in our ocean somewhere. They found that 6-gilled shark they found not too long ago. There's a lot of things in the ocean that are going to you're going to end up finding again. Like, we've done it before, we'll end up doing it again. Megalodon has been filmed a few times. I know there was a Coast Guard video. They'll probably end up showing it here. If they don't, you can look that up on YouTube. That should mean the shark that was in that, everybody's like, well, it could have just been like a really big, that thing was freaking massive. Like, massive.
Megalodon, like many other cryptid myths, was a real creature and a king of the sea millions of years ago. The creature was a huge shark with a similar appearance to the great whites, with huge teeth 7 inches in length and its body anywhere from 15 to 20 feet in length. Some people believe that the Megalodon could still exist. I myself think that perhaps this could be one of the few plausible cryptid theories. There is no solid evidence pointing to its current existence, although fossilized teeth that were retrieved from a deep-sea exploration in 1875 were told to only be 10,000 to 14,000 years old. Back in that age, North America and Asia were bridged together via a landmass where the Native American ancestors had crossed over. If these tests had any accuracy at all, then they would point to possible existence during this era, the end of the Pleistocene, which would predate its agreed extinction date by over 2 million years into the future. Some hoax pictures of the shark list its size as records.
That's not real.
Smashing figures, such as 65 feet long. However, this is most likely hoaxes over-exaggerating the original shark's dimensions to make a better cryptid story.
That was scary as shit, dude, because I'll tell you, if you're ever sitting at the beach, like, especially if you're at the beach during what they call the mullet run, to where you can see all like the little fish just jumping in the water constantly, and you see like schools, 1,000 of them. If you sit there for long enough on the beach and the waves are a little bit bigger, you will see sharks cruising through the waves. I've seen it 1,000, like hundreds of thousands of times in my life. It is something that's very real. They were cruising in the waves. You can see them kind of shooting through it. It's badass, man. Hopefully one day I'll be able to get it on camera.
Possible existence of its existence could be based around only 5% of the Earth's waters being explored. 95% unexplored.
5%. 5% of our oceans being explored. I mean, 95% of our oceans that cover the majority of our world have never even been touched.
Earth water.
Tell me there's not going to be some shit hiding out there.
It's a big space for fewer beasts to roam. Just saying. Number 3. The Yeti. There's a pretty high chance you've heard of it, whether it was from Scooby-Doo or in some sort of cheesy horror film. The Abominable Snowman, aka the Yeti, is basically Bigfoot in Asia, an ancient Sasquatch creature said to roam the Himalayas.
It's a hell of a lot meaner than Bigfoot in America. The Yeti's known to kind of screw some people up, dude, like willing to attack.
Layers including Nepal, Russia, Tibet, and India. Some believe this large creature is a relative of some form of the extinct subhuman Gigantopithecus, which was extinct by ancient humans 300,000 years ago. The Yeti is mentioned in many cultures, more popularly in Buddhism. Many Nepalese monasteries claim to have collected real bones and skulls from these Yetis.
A lot of those bones and skulls have been tested and they came back as fake, unfortunately.
Which they showcase in display cases. Although few bones are confirmed to be human, some of the bones were confirmed using DNA samples from the Yeti, which said they belonged to a prehistoric polar bear that is said to be extinct. If we pay attention to folklore and myths, as well as historic sightings, the Yeti is similar to Bigfoot in appearance, standing 8 to 10.5 feet tall, with reddish-brown or black hair. It walks upright similar to its ancestors. In 1953, a rock climber called Edmund Hillary ascended atop Mount Everest. Many remember this man as the one who hunted the Yeti. In the years following 1950, Hillary found hairs and footprints in which he linked to the Yeti. He later found tracks in the Barren Cola Range. He would later confirm he believed in the possibility of the Yeti.
I know it was a long time ago, but he still could have had all that tested, man.
Existence, and would go on later expeditions such as in 1960, when sponsored by the World Book Encyclopedia Company of Chicago. Possible reasons for the tracks and footprints, as well as even sightings to explain the strange happenings, include the Chutek-Lango monkey, which lived at lower altitudes, the Tibetan blue bear, the Himalayan red brown bear, and others.
None of those are even close to the size of what a Yeti is supposed to be, not even that bear.
The Times suggested that the Yeti could have been a human hermit. Number 2. El Chupacabra. El Chupacabra, the cryptid myth founded so many years ago.
The bloodsucker. The goat sucker, whatever sucker you want to call him.
Over a decade ago, Chilean farmers awoke to a harsh reality. Their goats had been left to lie and suck dry. Many different sightings showed a different...
I have seen something similar, like that video where that cop's tracking that dog that looks like it has mange running down the road. Like, that was a freaky-ass looking creature. I don't know if that was the Chupacabra. A lot of people associate that video with the Chupacabra. But, I mean, that thing was alive. It was rolling. It's just the fact that this thing sucks every drop of blood out of whatever it's attacking. And then there's no blood in the surrounding area. That's what gets me about the Chupacabra. That's why I doubt it, man. Like,
in 1955, more Hispanic sightings labeled the creature as reptilian in body, with bulging red eyes, sharpened teeth, and a lizard-like tongue.
Reptilians we'll get into. I promise you that.
The cryptid is known for its attacks on livestock, similar in fashion to the Jersey Devil. In Spanish, its name means goat sucker. The primary kind of appearance is much different to the reptilian described before, as it is described as shown in certain accounts as a canine creature resembling a hairless dog with sharp teeth like a canine. To date, more than 2,000 sightings.
That just looks like a sick dog. It sucks. But even this dog, you look at it, like, that's Chupacabra. That thing's that's not sucking all the blood out of something. Like, it's not just gonna sit there and drink all the blood. Chupacabra blood. I don't know.
Possible explanations for the identity of the beast lies in a case in Texas, July 2010. As a canine-like creature attacked a group of animals, it was put down and suspected to be an alleged Chupacabra. As scientists from A&M University examined the creature, they found it to be a hybrid of a coyote and a dog.
See? But there's no hole in there to where this is going to bite him like a damn vampire. Like I said, it could be another hybrid, dude.
Infected with mange, a contagious skin disease caused by parasitic mites, along with internal parasites too. Number 1. Bigfoot, aka the Sasquatch.
It always comes back to Bigfoot.
Save for the number 1 spot for being perhaps the most legendary and revered cryptid on the whole list, the Sasquatch, or more popularly known as Bigfoot, is a cryptid that has been the centre of many sightings and hoaxes, as well as popular fiction such as in games. The Sasquatch is a large creature, similar in appearance to the Yeti that is said to be roaming the Americas. In American and Native American folklore, the the creature is said to inhabit forests and isolated domains, especially of the Pacific Northwest regions. Those who've claimed to have sighted this cryptid claim it to be a creature of muscular proportions, large in size and around 6 to 9 feet tall, with thick dark hair like an ape and hues of brown and black. Certain sightings of the creature have been
If Bigfoot was real and you came across it in the woods and it wanted to, you would not stand a freaking chance.
described as being bears with mange or misclassified creatures. However, tales of Bigfoot date
But I will say, like, I think bears and Bigfoot get confused a lot. If it's almost dark out and you see a black bear 30 feet up in a tree just kind of sitting on a branch staring down at you, you're not going to know what the hell that is because you're not expecting a bear to be 30 feet up in a tree, and that happens. You see a bear walking on 2 legs through a tree line just going tree to tree kind of searching for food. That's going to freak the shit out of you, especially if you don't have a real good angle at it to see, like, hey, that's a bear. If it's just the shaded outline of some big black furry ass creature walking on 2 legs, you'd be freaked out.
Back as far as the Native Americans, who told stories of the creatures and who were most likely behind the cave paintings of similar creatures believed to depict Bigfoots.
The old artwork, even from religious photos to the cave art, that's where it really starts to get interesting for me, and we're going to jump into a lot of that. I'm going to bring a lot of that up during the live show just to kind of get your guys' thoughts on it.
The most popular account is the Patterson-Gimlin film. The 2 collaborators of the film still claim to this day that they were not part of any sort of hoax and that the creature was real. In 19...
They broke down the muscle movement on this video and like the structure of like his arms moving. It was honestly pretty cool. They said a human couldn't do it, but I don't know, man.
1967, Roger Patterson and Robert Gimlin, 2 friends and Bigfoot enthusiasts, went by horse to inspect the claims of Bigfoot roaming the woods of Orleans, California, where it was believed footprints had been found. Close by, they would capture the most famous footage of Bigfoot ever. The clip, almost 60 seconds in length, shows a hairy humanoid walking through the woods of Bluff Creek. As the clip progresses, you can see the creature turn at the waist, seeming to look at Patterson and then walking off into the woods. Many believe it to be a hoax, whilst many believers think it is solid proof of existence. However, films can be manipulated, and such old...
I am not going to lie to you guys. I have come across some things walking through the woods in like some pretty desolate areas to where a bunch of trees are pulled together, they kind of weave together, and it just kind of makes like a little bit of a dome. And I don't know what animal would do that besides something like a Bigfoot. I mean, I was in the area. You could tell that it was old as shit. But I mean, it was there. It was definitely there. It definitely could have been a person coming and camping, saw an area where you could tie some stuff together, throw a tarp over it. All of a sudden, he has an Insta shelter, and then just pulled his tarp in the morning and was gone, and it was just there for me to see a year or 2 later. It's a possibility, but I've seen some of those domes that were built at an extremely large level to where just the height of the interior of them would blow your fucking mind.
And footage and poor technology can cover up a seemingly bad hoax. However, the nature of the movement and build is stated by many as solid proof, as is exactly how an ape creature would move. Thanks for watching the video. Let me know what your favourite cryptid is in the comments below so I know that you watched till the end.
Alright, man, that's pretty much what I have for you guys tonight. Be sure to go sub The Most Amazing Top 10. Like I said, great videos, and The Blue Crusader. They both put on great shows. Both the links are going to be in the description. I really had fun reacting to this. I really want to know what your guys' thoughts are on this, though, and how you feel about some of these cryptids. I understand there's hundreds of cryptids, and we only covered about probably 15 to 17 of them. But I just want to know which ones are your guys' favorites. Which ones do you think could honestly be tied to the UFO phenomenon, and the ones that we need to take kind of a deeper look into. And I'd really like to see the ones that, like I said before, go back into that Indian culture. So hit me up, let me know what you guys are thinking. Until the next time, guys, I'm Sunjoku. Thank you very much for checking it out. Be sure to click that sub button, click that like button. We will catch you guys on the next one.